Well, sorry, the videos, they've been taking a little bit longer than I anticipated. I made a couple, but they were just, I only have 30 minutes per round, I guess you want to call it, on these cameras. I have it like at 720p, so the quality should be very good, but the time I have allotted myself for that video, or any video really, is 30 minutes. If I go to 1080p, it's even less time. So the videos I had made before, they were very condensed, very consolidated, and there was too many topics in one video for a 30-minute video. So I'm going to try to just make this about maps. Pretty simple rundown on maps. Concerning your bug out bag and maps, it's kind of basic. I mean, it can be as basic or as difficult as you want it to be. For me, it's pretty basic. I guess depending on where you live is going to determine if it's going to be basic or intermediate or difficult usage of maps. So since I say anybody in the family, they're going to be pretty close to living in city limits. They're not really going to be at the mercy of the rural or mountainous regions. So that's a good thing and it's a bad thing. So when it comes to city maps, they're going to be pretty simple. You're going to be fairly familiar with your area, if not really familiar. But you want to get a map of your immediate area, which in my case is going to be Corpus Christi. And for that, I got a Corpus Christi map. And you are going to, well, one thing I want to go over is you don't want to be writing all over your paper maps because it is very hard to erase. And if you've seen any maps lately, there are only a certain amount of colors that are on any type of map, at least in America that I know of. So the common colors are blue, of course, for water, black for roads. There's brown or yellowish brown, something like that, for major highways. Well, here's a national map. The blue shows all the major national highways. But when it comes to like city areas or state maps, some of the streets on here in Corpus, they're colored for SPID. It's a red color map or red color road. But I think that may be dependent upon who made the map. So, let me see. This one is, it says cover photo courtesy of Corpus Christi Convention and Visitors Bureau. But it didn't say who made the map. So, regardless of who makes the maps, there are only going to be probably up to 6 or 7 main colors, I believe it is, 6. It's going to be black, red, brown, blue, green. Let me see if I see any others. Black, blue, red, brown, green. The legend will have you, okay, so here's like a bluish, dark blue, green, dark green, red, yellow. I guess depending upon what it's talking about, it's going to have different colors for those, aspects of the map. So anyway, back to the city. So if you live in Austin, San Antonio, Corpus Christi, New Braunfels, Seguin, you want to get a map for that immediate area, because if you have to leave that area, you want to have a map of that area. And outside of that area, of course, this is Texas, so it's going to show you your city. You want to get a Texas atlas. So here's a map for your immediate area, and here's a map for your surrounding area. If you don't want to go this route, which I'm going to do a little experiment, you can get some of the box tape. I'm going to get one of these Corpus Christi maps, lay it out flat on this table and just run this tape all the way across it. So it'll have the entire map minus what I decide to cut away from it. And here's the other version of what I have. This is a AquaQuest map case or map cover, or whatever you want to call it. You're basically going to fold up the map and put it in here to show your immediate area. And it has like a vinyl film that goes over it, which protects the map from the elements. Here I have, oh wait, that's not a map. This map right here, let's just say this is a map of your immediate area. My dogs keep chewing on something out there. I don't know what it is, probably eating shit. So let's just say this is a map of your immediate area. You're gonna have a grease pencil. I call them grease pencils, but other people or other stores on Amazon, they call it China marker. So the good thing about this vinyl cover is you can draw all over it. Let's just say you're routing out or you're selecting a route for whichever way you want to go. If you mess up that route, you can easily erase it. It'd be better with a little paper towel. That's one thing I forgot to put in here. You can put like a little, some sort of napkin that doesn't get torn up like paper napkins, but you can erase it and it's good to go once again without any permanent marks on it. It's almost like a dry erase board, but for grease pencils. So let's just say this is a map of your immediate area. Get familiar with it, of course, the map, how to use the map, and more importantly, or most importantly, your area. You want to route, if possible, 3 main routes of escape. I think some people call it egress, maybe. First route, of course, is going to be a highway. You're probably not needing to route that on a map because you probably drive it every day to go to work. But aside from the highway, which in a bug out scenario you may want to avoid probably at all costs because everybody in the city is going to be hitting at the highway. So you want to pick a couple, maybe 3 routes out the back roads. One of them is going to be your primary route. I would say the primary route, let's just call that the highway. Secondary and the tertiary route would be 2 or 3 other back roads. Make sure they have gas stations that you can be, I don't know. I wouldn't take a route. I wouldn't choose the second route or the first route that has gas stations that are really far apart, especially if your destination is far away. I'll try to pick an area that has gas stations every, I don't know, 50 miles. At least every 50 miles. And for those of us who have decided to go the electric vehicle route, I would not choose that as your first means of escape. Because if, for whatever reason, all of your routes are shut down and you can't get out and you're stuck in the car, yes, gas runs out too, but I would imagine driving around, and if your battery's not fully charged or halfway charged, I don't know how long that lasts. But for a car that runs on fuel, depending on what kind of car it is, actually V8, V6, or V4, 4-cylinder, you're going to get anywhere between 100 to 200 miles range, which is pretty good. But you don't want to be hoping for the best on half a tank or half a charge of fuel or power. So another thing to live by is always keep your gas or your car half charged or half full. So get an atlas of your area, of your state actually. You want to start local, then you want to go to your state area, and if need be, depending on where you're at, let's just say you're out of state for whatever reason, this is still a good idea to have, because should something happen when you're out of state, away from any family members who could come help you, you should always have one of these readily available. They're fairly inexpensive. Get some grease markers, grease pencils, and you can always put a map of whatever area you're in. The last time I used this was in Colorado when we went up there for a little shindig. Another thing is radios, which is a different topic, different video. But yeah, here's a map of the United States, all the major highways. I'm not sure if this was to or from, but you see, this is a perfect example. I wrote on here with like a little marker, permanent marker, so I can know this is pretty much, I wouldn't say compromised, but you can't take these marks off. So I don't even remember what these symbols were for. I had drew a triangle with like a little crescent moon and a letter H and a letter PL, PC. That's up in Montana. I drove through Montana a couple times. Stopped in Wyoming for sure. Cheyenne. But yeah, once you put a mark on the map, you cannot take it off. So it's a good idea to get one of these things, little vinyl sleeve. And you have front and back. So you can have a picture of your immediate area on this side, and then extended area on the other side. So it's a good idea to do that. So no, I don't want to say that's all about maps. There's a lot more about maps, but that's basic. That's basic stuff about maps. So I think what I did, I had an atlas. This was like the first page, and this was the second page. I just cut them out, taped them together with some box tape like this, and same thing. You can draw on it and erase it. It's pretty good, just like this. And on here, it's going to have somewhat of a legend or a key to tell you. Yeah, so on here, it's got basically the same thing that this atlas has, just in a smaller version. It's going to give little symbols for tunnels, a symbol for toll, symbol for parks, symbol for information area, hospital, buildings, airport, dams, mountains, port of entry, Great River Road, swamp, desert. So it's going to have it's going to go over all the types of natural environments or environments that you're going to probably go driving through. So get familiar with your maps. That is a very good thing to know, because worst comes to worst, phones don't work, there's no internet, no internet, no TV, no power. This is always gonna, I think maps have kind of died away in a sense, because people have become so accustomed to, I don't want to say brainwashed, but yeah, they just become accustomed to pulling out their phone, hitting GPS, like, oh, okay. They don't have to worry about knowing how to get there, because this computer is going to tell them how to get there. But if that thing breaks and you don't have a map, you're shit out of luck. You're not going to know where to go. Most people don't even know the basic directions, north, south, east, and west, much less what northeast is. So get a map, learn how to use it. It's not that hard. It's actually kind of neat to go look at a map, because you'll see stuff on there that you probably never even knew existed. Actually, I was going to cut this video short, but another thing I wanted to go over is living in a city compared to living in a rural slash mountainous region. There are different types of maps. You'll have some that are just roads. It'll show major rivers. It'll show roads. It'll show borders. It'll show states and city names. That's one type of map. This is like a map for people and vehicles. But another type of map is a topographical map, which, God forbid, you have to be on foot for 200-300 miles. A topographical map is something you really want, because it's going to give you an insight into what the type of terrain you're going to be walking into or currently are being subjected to. One key feature to know about a topographical map is you'll see squiggly lines. That's basically what a topographical map is. These lines are going to follow the contour of that particular area, that particular geographical area. One key thing, well, one big thing to remember is the closer those little squiggly lines are that follow the contour of that geographical area, the closer those lines are, means the higher the elevation is in that specific area. So if they're far apart, that means that that land is relatively flat, but you'll see more of those squiggly lines come up. And if you stand, let's just say you're looking down a topographical map. If you can imagine like hovering above a topographical map and looking down, you're gonna see certain areas where those lines go into like a little V color. That would be, I think, a draw. It's gonna be a V color where it's kind of like smacking into each other, kind of what do you call it? Overlapping, or I don't know the geographical term. But they're kind of just like blending into each other, I guess you could say. That would be a draw, where it's basically like a valley. Like if you look at your house and this one roof intersects with this other roof and they come in, that's a valley or draw. I believe they can be synonymous. And another one is where it comes up this way. Instead of coming in this way intersecting, they intersect this way. This way is a ridge. You can follow it. You'll see it. It's almost like the dorsal fin on a shark. It's just straight across. There are. Let me see. Almost the same amount of features as there are on a highway map or an atlas. Basically the same colors. It's going to show you rivers. And another thing to think about when it comes to topographical maps, most of these rivers are going to be in valleys. Most of them anyway. I don't want to say all of them. But you'll see that. So some of these run east and west. Some run south, but I don't know if you can see in this little video, but get a topographical map as well. They're very good to have, especially if you live in the mountainous or a rural region that has mountains. Oh yeah, that's good for this video. How much time did I waste on that? 20 minutes.